TCP port 389 is the default port for which of the following? Well, we have a couple different options here. Let's first start with RDP. RDP is Remote Desktop Protocol, and it's a proprietary protocol developed by Microsoft for providing remote access into different Windows desktops and applications. Think of it as proprietary for Microsoft, so they're forced to use a faraway port, and this is going to be TCP port 389. The reason why it's TCP is because when you have a remote session, you want that session to be a strong connection. TCP provides this at a little bit of a slower rate compared to UDP. UDP is User Datagram Protocol, and it allows packets to be sent faster, but they have to have lighter overhead, and it's not as reliable. It trades reliability for speed. Now, let's also look at SMB. SMB is actually used for multiple ports. It's a file sharing protocol, and SMB directly over TCP is done with port 445. And then it's also used with NetBIOS. And NetBIOS is basically allowing you to see devices, talk to devices on a network. And this is over port 139. NetBIOS actually uses ports 138, 137, and 139. But for the actual SMB or server message block where the server is trying to talk to devices, that's 139 specifically, TCP 139. So lastly, we have LDAP and LDAPS. Well, LDAP is a lightweight directory access protocol. And what this does is it has a directory of accesses for like employees, or it basically manages people's access on a network. And if you want it to be secured, you would use LDAPS, which secures it over SSL or TSL. If you want to do this with security, you would use LDAPS. LDAPS, or the S, stands for SSL or TLS. SSL is Secured Socket Layer, and TLS is Transport Layer Security. And this will allow you to move between like a server and a client securely with encryption. LDAP does not have that good of encryption. LDAP still stands for Lightweight Directory Access Protocol, and this is what uses the TCP port 389 as its default network port. LDAPS actually uses a higher port. It's port 636, so that's for LDAPS. So again, LDAPS uses port 636. SMB is going to use multiple ports, TCP 445 and TCP 139. And then RDP is going to use TCP 3389. LDAP is going to use TCP port 389 as a default network port. Keep in mind, TCP is Transport Control Protocol.